Today is Sunday the 28th, one day before leap year, of February 2016, and this is the Q Podcast. My name is Ben Thomas. Joining me today is Patrick Figueroa.
How many people in labor do you think are trying to hold their baby in for another 12 hours?
I don't think
Just
they
so
have
they can.
I think the doctors are just putting a bar on all births. I don't think they even have a choice, right?
Yeah, I think so, because it's just we want our hospital to be famous for most leap year babies born ever.
those are the
Not to
So
mention, there's going to be that one person, just statistically speaking, who thinks their kid is actually going to age slower.
that's just the rules of the universe.
that's just down here in the south.
Oh.
Oh God.
We also got our resident high roller, Christian Elariaga.
What's up?
How's it going, man? Did you lose your voice to Vegas?
Yeah, pretty much. We saw Nelly up in one of the clubs over there. My cousin got us in, so it was pretty dope. I lost my voice there.
What songs is he known for? Heart of a Champion.
Uh, the fucking shit. I can't even remember the name of the song anymore. The
Come on,
down
Ben, you
down
know these
baby. No,
things.
No
Oh,
Street and a Ranger. Yeah. I don't really.
Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Puff.
I have a funny
Should be
song. I have a funny story about that song. Well, not funny. I was in third grade when that song came out, and my friend Kyle, what's up, Kyle? He showed me that song, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never heard. I would probably only listen to classic rock by age 6 or whatever third grade is. What? No,
Sure.
8. And I was playing that in our computer room. And all of a sudden, my dad storms in, and he turns it off. He's like, "You can't listen to that song."
Oh my God.
And I was like, why?
I don't understand.
I was pissed, and he calmly explained to me that I wasn't allowed to listen to any songs that had the N word in them, and I had no idea what the N word was, and I don't think he did a good job of explaining it because I still don't think I understood till middle school or something when we were reading Huckleberry Finn or something.
I wonder if in our future generation there's a word that's taboo right now, and then down the road it's gonna be in songs, and we have to tell our kids you can't listen to that because
it's
of
still
that
going to
word.
be the N word.
It might.
mean,
Well, I'm
it's
not
still
gonna.
gonna be
Yeah,
the N-word.
I do think the N word is not going anywhere.
Which
Well-
sucks because you can't rap along to your favorite lyrics.
Yeah, you just gotta strategically pause.
Not with that.
Anything by Kanye? No. Anything by Jay-Z? No.
I mean, yeah, pretty much all the music I listened to, so it didn't work out. I'm sorry, but no, it was Country Grammar by Nelly. I looked it up.
There we go.
Country
But
game.
yeah, that was a super vivid moment in my childhood. So there you guys go.
Nice.
That's an excerpt from Ben's life.
Oh yeah, but so you saw Nelly at the club.
Yeah, a lot of the casinos were super, super nice. We stayed in the Planet Hollywood for a couple days, which is right there along the strip, right across from the Bellagio. And it's interesting going around. It's definitely different because, you're going to have people walking around drinking out of huge margarita containers
Was this your first time?
midday. Second time, but
Second
the last
time.
time I
Down here.
wasn't legal, so.
Down here you can day drink. No brown bags down here.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
There's no
Can drink on the
open
street.
container?
It's
Nope.
open container
I
here.
remember just being on a corner in NOLA, and some person next to me just pulls a handle of vodka out of their jacket and just takes a swig, and it's just well, time to cross the street. I was saying, handles, New Orleans. Okay, but you were talking about how crazy Vegas was, Christian. Well, not how crazy, but how different it was.
Yeah, it was just unique seeing all those people out there, all the amount of people wearing the clothes they were in last night. And
Do you have a stack of stripper cards?
Mm.
yes,
Network
actually.
cards? Yeah.
Yes, because you could. It's kind of weird because you tune yourself into it. You hear just the telltale clacking because they click the cards, and it's a unique sound. You'll hear them clicking the cards and then handing them out to people. So the moment you hear that click, you're like, oh God, there's another person.
I'm
Did you
picturing
But
assign stats to them like Pokemon cards?
battle.
I
Did
actually
you battle
thought about
them.
that.
Like bust +2,
There was a guy.
syphilis -3.
There was a
Oh.
guy. As soon as I was walking into one of the casinos, I think it was the Flamingo. Anyway, he was just out at a table with a chair, and he was just organizing these cards. He had a huge stack of them,
Yeah.
this big. They were all different,
Mhm.
and he was just organizing them on the table like it was no big deal.
That's pretty legit.
Nice.
I mean, you got to get them laminated before you start touching them like that.
I know,
You
right?
got to take care
Especially
of
the holographic ones, you know.
You can't let them. You can't expose them to sunlight. The UV
Mhm.
rays will destroy them, and they'll lose their authenticity.
Did you guys
I
ever?
feel like that's the same of like real strippers, because if you see them in the daylight, it's super different.
They're
probably-
people too, dude. What
it's
the
just
fuck?
it's just obvious which is which. Did you guys ever, when you were kids, put like playing cards in the spokes of your bicycle wheels,
I did stickers.
stickers, and it
Mhm.
made
Like,
that
you would-
like motorcycle
the clicking
sound?
noise,
Yeah,
yeah.
you would wrap the sticker around like one of the things, and then it would flap. Yeah, but yeah.
That's what I'm picturing like with on the strip.
Stripper
All right,
cards.
I have 3 important questions, Christian.
All right.
Did you go to the gold and silver pawn shop?
No, I did not.
Okay. Number 2, did you see a magic show?
On the strip, sure. I didn't
Okay.
actually get to watch a magic show.
All out.
Well, let's just say he saw a lot of tricks, if you know what I mean.
Oh, got him. And then what are your favorite casino games? Like, what do you play in the casino?
Just the penny slots, man.
No,
I'm
you
not
don't.
I'm not looking to play
Wait,
well, because like the tables there at a certain time were always like the buy-in at some of the like the blackjack and the poker tables turned up to like $25 a hand, and I wasn't ready to ball that hard.
I guess you're an MMO player. You would play slots.
Yeah,
Got that grind on.
Got that. Just like
dude, those loot
shiny,
tables, man, loot tables.
those shiny wheels.
It's all about
What does
it.
that say about us, Ben? What kind of games do we play based on the games we play at home?
That's a topic. We need to flesh
That's
that
a
out at a later time.
Sounds good.
I like.
What casino game would you play if you play this game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MMO penny slot thing is just way too fucking perfect.
Yeah, it's just spot on. I think the rest fall. The metaphor falls when you start to go to craps and blackjack.
Yeah.
But cool. Glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was exciting.
All right, Patrick, what have you been up to? Also, did
Yeah.
anyone change what have you been up to what have you been up toes to try to mess me up?
I think I saw Christian fuck around with it.
Yeah, because I'm impenetrable, Christian. I'm just warning you right now. I'm warning you right now. There will be nothing slips by me.
I don't know why, but like when the word penetration comes up, I just my cogs just start turning. I'm like, how can I turn that around?
What does that say
funny.
about what gambling you like to do?
Actually, it's more about my entire field of work.
Okay.
Penetration testing.
Okay, so I'm gonna front load what I've been up to. I'm gonna shine the spotlight on Better Call Saul. I caught up this week. I hadn't watched any of it before. And I was a huge Breaking Bad fan. So real
Everybody
quick,
was.
Except for
I
me.
mean, yeah, except for Ben.
Yeah.
So
Ben
spinning
doesn't count
off
as a
of
person.
the success
Pretty
of
much.
Breaking Bad, Vince Gilligan decided to shine the light on one of his side characters on Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman, aka the sleazy lawyer, in a new AMC series, Better Call Saul. And unless it was broken in the past year or so, Better Call Saul is the highest new show like on cable, like
Mhm.
had the highest premiere. I think it was like 18 or 20 million people watched the first episode. It was a big deal. So it's a terrific show about Breaking Bad's charismatic sleazebag lawyer Saul Goodman, who was played by Bob Odenkirk, and it's about him before he changed his name and before we found him in like season 2 or 3 of Breaking Bad. It's really cool because the show actually starts as a flash forward to the post events of Breaking Bad. Like we left spoiler alert. We left Saul like he's on the run, and we find him. He's an employee at a Cinnabon, and he's just like wiping tables. He's got a mustache, and he's like paranoid. So like, there's just a small scene where he like thinks like some guy's looking at him, and he's like freaking out, getting ready to like bail.
Yeah.
But and then you find out like when he goes to his office, through his like boredom / depression, he watches like his sleazy like lawyer commercials, you know, like the campy
Yeah, like don't let the car accident keep you from being a
Yeah.
millionaire. I don't know.
right, and just like the fake backgrounds, the American Eagle. So like he like sits on his couch and like watches those, and he's like almost crying, and it's just like what he used to be type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we found out, like, before he was Saul Goodman, he was this aspiring, smooth talking, but still struggling lawyer, Jimmy McGill, who is trying to make his way in the legal field by, like, taking on these, like, defense cases in, like, the courthouse. You know, like when a lawyer will be given to you, he's like that lawyer. So he's taking cases of, like, kids who are, like, who, you know, put their penis in, like, a cadaver, like murderers and stuff. And he's
Jesus.
just like,
Is that a true story?
it's in the first episode.
Oh my gosh. Well, I
but
didn't mean, I meant not true story, but in the actual show. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, like, it's funny because before you know that, he's like telling these lawyers, like, we've all done stupid stuff as kids, right? Like, you were probably something, like, you did something you regret. And then, like, he has, like, this whole affair. And then the prosecuting lawyer, he rolls out a TV. And it's the kids that are saying, like, dude, put your penis in that. And Saul's just like,
That's
fuck my life, right?
Speech is over.
Um,
How many
and
seasons of that are there?
it's only one, and they just started the second one.
Okay.
So, like, he's like a good person and stuff, right? But, like, he finds that trying to climb this lawyer ladder is being blocked by shitty people doing shitty things.
Hmm.
And so it's fantastic seeing, like, these small facets of the Saul Goodman we know, like, leak out of him to, like, get an edge, because he's finding out being the nice guy is not the best way to do it.
It sounds like the show would appeal to people who had never even seen Breaking Bad.
It has nothing. It does not stand on the shoulders of Breaking Bad by any means, other than that first, like, 5 minute flash forward. It stands so well on its own, and it hints at, like, tiny things that, like, with Breaking Bad, like, Vince Gilligan loves to shove, like, tiny little shit into his movies and TVs that people can pick up on. And only by looking through the subreddit do I, like, find out these things, because these are, like, the hardcore Breaking Bad fans. But it's fantastic. It stands on its own so well. And it's brilliantly shot. And I said this before the podcast, like, I've been watching a lot of, like, CW verse, like, Arrow, Flash and stuff. And, like, those are fine shows, but they're not, like, shot well, or the acting's, like, not fantastic. This show just reminded me, just like Breaking Bad, like, Vince Gilligan and, you know, his team, they know how to shoot a good television episode. Like, it's just
Polished.
it's so polished, and it's just so good. And that Bob Odenkirk, he got nominated, like, for his performance. He just kills it. So
Is that guy from Lavelle, like the comedian, the giant black dude, is he in it?
he's supposed to.
Okay. Huey? Yeah.
I heard he's supposed to, but, like, that's it. This is, I think, 4 years before the events of Breaking Bad, where it starts that way. So he's pretty far removed from who we found Saul as.
Right.
It's great. Oh God, like, it's not like Breaking Bad, where, like, it's constantly, like, danger and you have to, like, outsmart his way to, like, save his life. It's just, like, him being crafty and, like, fucking people over because he's been fucked over so many times. And it's just it really is just a good drama. You don't have to like Breaking Bad. I highly suggest you watch, like, the first 1 or 2 episodes to get a taste.
Sick. I probably will do that. I've been watching more Netflix lately.
It's on Netflix. It's good shit.
Netflix will rule the world.
Hope so. Them and Amazon are gonna have to
Team up.
They're gonna, like, split the Earth at the equator and be like, all right, you get this half, I get this half.
They do that. If
So
it's
by
not
hemisphere?
if it's not on Netflix, it's on Amazon fucking Prime. I also finished Mr. Robot. It's that Dexter hacker show. I did not like how it turned out. For me, it got, like, a little cringy because it follows a lot of, like, the anonymous, like, anarchism, and it's like, I know that they have, like, a lot of power, but when it comes down, they've got, like, a fake Guy Fawkes mask, and it's just like, this is too cringy for me.
Yeah, that's
And it's
kind of...
like a bunch of them saying, like, yeah, we did it.
It
We
went a
hacked
little
the
too
network.
meta.
We hacked the network, and the world is, like, crumbling, and it's like,
All right.
okay,
It's too real.
yeah,
A little bit of a Mandark vibe.
man, dark vibe, yeah. And then I watched two movies. Predestination. Have you guys ever heard of this one?
Is that the
I've
one,
not heard of
the
that one.
sci-fi with Ethan Hawke?
Yeah,
My dad watched that like this week.
yeah.
He didn't like it that much.
It it's if you're looking for like a fun, slightly thought-provoking sci-fi movie, I wouldn't read anything about it because a lot of like the shock of the twists, kind of what make the movie,
Right.
if you will. It does put its head up its ass with like trying to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this shit's profound, but if you just like let that go, it's a fun movie. Don't
What
read anything about it,
what is
but
like is it what's like the budget like? Is it low budget or like does it feel campy or
it does not feel campy
okay.
because it's a sci-fi movie, but it's not really like set in the future. It's got sci-fi tones.
Right.
Um, but if you just want to watch a movie, you're kind of in the mood for sci-fi, I'd look into it.
Okay.
Don't read
Always in the
anything
mood for
about it.
sci-fi.
Don't read anything about it.
I like movies and sci-fi.
Um, so Ben, this I thought like you would love this movie. Have you heard of Prisoners?
I have never heard of this.
Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a drama where Hugh Jackman is a father to a kidnapped daughter, and Jake Gyllenhaal is the detective working the case.
Oh gosh.
And Paul Dano is the mentally ill suspect. Paul Dano's the There Will Be Blood guy. The little turn
The
the
the I drink your milkshake?
no, well, he's the preacher in that movie.
I like so vaguely remember that movie
What about
besides
Little Miss Sunshine?
yes,
The teenager.
the colorblind pilot.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a great actor. And he plays the mentally ill like suspect.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's super eerie, suspense driven, and it teeters on the line of like what the fucking holy shit moments.
Yeah.
Like Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal kill it as Hugh Jackman is got crazy is fucking crazy in that movie.
He's the father.
He's the father, and Jake Gyllenhaal's classic Jake Gyllenhaal. He's great.
He's been playing a lot of armed forces and police.
Yeah,
Police.
I mean, he
He's-
looks the type.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
fit
he's got the luck.
he fits the part.
All three of them give skin crawlingly good performances and flesh out like how far someone would be willing to go to like find this girl. It's got even like True Detective, like just like straight creepy antagonist vibes.
Uh-huh.
And this is not a happy movie.
How
Like,
how
by the end
old
of it, I was just like,
how old is that movie?
I think 2012, 2013.
Oh man, that must have been
Highly suggest it. Holy, I watched it last night, and my the whole time I was like, I can't handle the feelings I'm feeling right now.
that's legit.
Shit's dark. What'd you have going on, Ben?
Oh, you're not gonna talk about Gravity Rush?
Oh shit. I finished Gravity Rush. Got the platinum trophy.
That's why I wanted to ask you. So how many
Yeah.
platinums do you have now?
4.
Okay.
Walking Dead, Bloodborne, Rocket League, and Gravity Rush.
Was Gravity Rush hard?
No. That game was a trophy treasure
Gimme.
chest. It just like gave you so many fucking trophies for doing everything. It was fantastic.
That's legit.
But it was good game. Fun physics. The story means nothing. The game is all about shifting gravity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun stuff.
The stories and the trophies.
Oh god, no.
I actually watched a good bit of TV this week. I was like kind of ill like midweek, so when I'm ill, I just like to like turn on Netflix and just start binging something.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
talk about that first one because I was interested in that.
Yeah, so
Watched the first 2 episodes of that.
I watched all 10 in the last probably week and a half. It's Love is like this new Judd Apatow dramedy on Netflix with Jillian Jacobs. And I don't even know the actor that plays Paul Rest, who also I think is like a co-creator.
Yeah, he's a producer.
It's about this like kind of like a modern love story. That's kind of where the show shines, where it like kind of pokes fun at how silly like dating is in like the modern age, and like how what happens when like two people that are polar opposites have like attraction. Jillian Jacobs is like the girl is this like kind of stereotypical like free spirit, just like no filter gives no fucks, and Paul Rust is this like painfully like kind of quiet, like nerdy, but not like geeky. He's just like socially awkward.
He's pretty geeky.
Yeah, well, he's
Holy
like,
shit. He's just like the special features thing. It's like,
yeah, I guess.
nobody watches the special features. I watch the special features. God damn it.
Oh, that was the worst. So yeah, he goes through a bad breakup at the start, and she does the same. And then it's kind of 10 episodes about their like just kind of friendship and like life challenges. Like it's not a good show. Like I think I'm like hypercritical of these types of shows because I hate stereotypes. Like I just hate them.
Yeah.
And when like someone like him like texts, like he can't tell if she likes him, so he texts her like 40 times before she replies, or like he's like will make like a horrible joke in like front of her friends, and I'm just like, no, like you can't make him do these such stupid things for the sake of the plot. Like it has to feel natural. Or like when the really hot girl like is just suddenly interested in the like really
Super nerdy guy.
Yeah, the guy that makes like no impression and like falls on his face, which I mean sometimes like people can swing that, but I
was
think
the movie or not movie? Was the show trying to pitch it as like super realism or?
no. But so that's the thing. So I think what the show is trying to do is just tell like a quirky love story and then make jokes about how awkward dating is.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's doing that, like when it's doing these set pieces of like dating that and making fun of like the tropes of like awkward like pregnant pauses at dinner and stuff, like I think it's so much fun. Like I like the dry humor, but when they try to progress the plot to present those moments, I don't find that those plot elements are interesting or good.
Right.
But
you should look into. I mean, we've talked about it before. Man Seeking Woman. That show is making fun of dating tropes.
I'm going to watch that show.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like that. The whole premise is just like.
That show is so up my alley.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that show. But I made it through 10 episodes. I think it's a cute show. I like.
Okay.
I think it's good. The third episode was the only one that like bugged me so much because they just really like portrayed him to be this guy that has no like self-confidence and just he just takes a stupid amount of shit.
I don't like Gus.
Gus.
From the 2 episodes I've seen, the main character.
Yeah, he's
like he's deplorable.
See, I didn't like so.
I like Britta though.
Britta was the worst. Did you see her do the? Did you see the hit and run? That might be the 3rd episode.
Okay.
It's not a big spoiler. It's just
Okay.
like trying to set up her character. She just like rear ends this guy, and then she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, let me back up so we can see the damage." And then she like drives away and flicks him off. It's just like, I was like, no, like no, like that's not like funny, reckless, like hot. That's just like
That's being an asshole.
You're a
You're
shitbag.
a shitty human being.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel Judd Apatow likes to do that.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
does, and that's
He
why
likes
I
his-
don't.
His character's on the extreme end.
And he makes him like extremely flawed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Incredibly flawed.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of that, but I can see why a lot of people are. Like, This Is 40 was one of the worst movies I've seen in
And like
my life.
this reminds me of Girls, you know? From what
Yeah.
I saw. It's just like these people are the worst. And
Yes.
their like problems are
It's entirely created by themselves.
fabricated by them, right? And it's like
Yeah.
I was just about to say their problems are they just need to get over themselves.
Right.
Oh my god.
And let's watch 40 hours of them trying to get over themselves.
My god, Girls is the worst.
Oh, Girls is kind of great. I just like Adam Driver in that.
Yeah.
Is so I just like
You know who I did like from Love from the first 2 episodes is Birdie.
Birdie is so good.
Australian.
She's really
just,
good.
She's just a perpetual smile. It's like
She
Yeah.
steals quite a few episodes.
I'm excited.
She's-
I'm excited they're using more of Birdie.
Yeah, they do. She's great. And then I watched all 6 episodes of Chef's Table, which has been on
Dude.
Netflix for a while. It's about 6 internationally acclaimed chefs. Each episode is one chef, goes into like their life, like a little bit. It's like half biography, half in the kitchen. Like and how their perspective on cooking and upbringing influenced like their success in the dishes that they created. And I'm like pretty into cooking, and oh man, this show is like really polished, like just food porn to the limit, all these close-up shots of epic fine dining, like really good personal stories. And I was like so inspired watching it. I was like Googling how to become a chef, and I was like, ooh, that's tough.
Nice.
To do like fine dining, at least quickly, you have to like go to culinary school, and that's culinary school costs like 40 grand.
Ben, if you're really interested in that, there's a subreddit for you.
What's the subreddit?
GIF recipes.
Okay, I could dig that.
It's essentially them going step by step in GIF form on how to make these things, and then they list out the ingredients in the
Dude,
post.
they have that shit on Facebook like all the
I
time.
know,
It's
but
everywhere.
I don't see that on Facebook. I've never seen
Really?
that.
Really?
Like people love posting that. I don't think it's like from GIF, but is it just like it's just like a recipe?
It's literally
that's
like 15 seconds. and
yeah,
then-
30-second like video, and it's just like chopped
Yep.
onions.
I've never seen that.
Really?
That's-
They're
yeah.
everywhere.
Okay,
It's
well,
total
I just
basic
linked it in the
basic.
Skype chat so that you can have a fun time browsing that later.
All right, I ignore all my Facebook friends' posts because
I mean, no, don't get me wrong, me too.
they're horrible.
It's election season, so
It is election season.
Yeah, it gets supercharged, and I.
All
Yeah,
right, moving on.
we'll
Moving
talk about
on.
it.
Danger,
Let's
Will
not.
Robinson. Danger. Okay, and then I played like the first hour and a half of Firewatch.
How do you like
and
it?
I love it. Like I knew I was gonna love it. Like that game was like right up my alley, and
Yeah,
I
I've
had
heard
like
super good.
I had like 6 games to play, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna drop $20 and play some Firewatch. So,
dude, nice.
I'm
Dude,
gonna-
you're playing a lot of walking simulators.
dude,
lately.
that's why
Are
I
you
wanted.
not burnt out?
That's why I wanted to do that topic. No, I'm not burnt out at all. Which walking
Because every one of them
simulators-
has been so unique and different that
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to really burn out on games where
Well, for me, it's like I need to balance. Like, I'm really glad I finished The Witcher, and now I'm playing these quick, like 5 to 10 hour games. But you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't jump into another fucking Witcher.
and then
Or
I'm on the exact opposite end of the spectrum where I play games for like 400 hours.
Wait, what does that have to do with walking simulator though?
Well, I'm just saying like the similar genre, because like sometimes I want
He's
to
gotta
play a
change it
game
up every other
that's,
game.
That's like nice and quick,
Oh,
or
right,
some
right.
games that are super long, or some games that are of this type, or some games that are that type. Because the problem I'm just like I've got Soma, Minecraft, story mode. Now I've got Life is Strange, and then I've got Everybody's Gone to the Rapture
Right.
as a buffer between like.
Those are all walking simulators.
Those
yeah.
are all walking simulators, and it's got me worried. He's like, oh fuck, did I fuck up the order? I should have probably done like Life is Strange before Gravity Rush and buffered, because I'm afraid of getting burnt out. Because you asked me a long time ago, like after my third or fourth Telltale game, like, am I tired of this shit? And I said no, but maybe I kind of was, but I don't know. I haven't hit the wall yet. I was curious if you hit a wall.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons why they're resonating with me so much right now. The first is like I'm really, really into like games that have something to say right now. Like I'm just kind of into some of the more like artsy stuff. I'm in an art phase, and
Right.
like games like Gone Home and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and
Even The Witness.
The
would you
Witness.
classify as that? Yeah.
I wouldn't, but what I'm saying, it would fall under that category. As something to say, and like these small indie games, these like 2 to 4 hour experiences are like they just for whatever reason lend themselves to taking risks and telling like stories that a AAA developer couldn't get away with.
Right.
So I think it's more like a coincidence that the walking simulators are just like scratching that itch more so than the style of gameplay.
Right. Because like I'm not gonna lie, I like watched some videos of like Cryptid and Necrodancer earlier. I was like, that would be a fun way to just knock out 30 minutes. you
Yeah.
know? It's something like that's my itch.
That game is so good.
It's just I'm curious as to
I think that's
what
part
you're
of-
itching versus trying. I don't know. Maybe because I have the mindset of completing games versus having experiences.
Yeah.
You want console
kind
games
of-
in the style of mobile games.
Well, no, I'm the same way though, right? So like for me, I really, really like participating in like the community and talking about what's current and like listening to a podcast about the latest games and things that are like trends. And for like if The Witcher comes out or Fallout comes out, like I don't have a shot at being like part of that zeitgeist. But when Firewatch or The Witness comes out, these shorter games, which The Witness is not a shorter game, but I was just that excited about it.
Right.
Like Firewatch is making waves right now, and it just lets me, for just the price of a few short hours, like just be a part of that.
Right. When
which
you're
is,
when you're listening to. No,
yeah,
I got you. That is neat.
I like that a lot as well.
Mhm.
But I'll have more impressions when I finish it. All right, guys, let's talk Kanye.
Jesus.
All right, so Christian, you listened to The Life of Pablo.
God, I did.
Patrick, did you listen to The Life of Pablo?
I don't really. This kind of music's not really my thing.
Okay, that answers.
So make it relatable.
No.
There's no way
I'm
to
not
make it
gonna do that.
relatable.
It's not even
Okay.
relatable to us. So how big a Kanye fan are you, Christian?
I mean, I loved Graduation.
Okay.
And, a couple of singles he's come out with and the collaborations he's done so far, but that
I
wasn't.
like my dark twisted fantasy.
My beautiful-
Everybody likes
album a
that.
lot.
Yeah, that. So my beautiful dark twisted fantasy
Yeah.
is my favorite hip hop album of all time.
Yep.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, like I really like that. I love 808s and Heartbreaks. In college, like I at first got really irked by Kanye, because I like couldn't stand his ego like in his rap. And then as I started to like listen to a lot more hip hop, I started to realize that like the ego for a lot of rappers is like a persona, like it's like a feeling. It kind of makes a statement, and it's like it's not hubris. It's actually like part of the art. So I became like a huge Kanye defender. And then obviously I think he's like a magician from a production standpoint. But then he starts to tweet things like Bill Cosby innocent, and this album release was just like a whole shit show.
Why is it a shit show?
So he changed the name of the album 4 times.
Yeah.
First it was So Help Me God, then it was Swish, then it was Waves, and then Wiz Khalifa like tweeted at him not to call it Waves, and then he was like, I own your child, and fucking what? Like that escalated quickly. Cause Kanye's ex-girlfriend is like the father of Wiz Khalifa's child.
It was like world star hip hop personified.
It was gross.
Is that racist?
No.
No,
Okay.
not really.
I don't know.
So hopefully not. So yeah, and he changed the album title 4 times. He did this release at Madison Square Garden where he was like
He literally just played it from his
a
Mac
laptop
or whatever.
Yeah, he just plugged in like an audio cable. So somehow he like got all these people excited. So after he plays off of his laptop at Madison Square Garden, then it's like dead air. Like the album's like, well, wait, where is it? Like it's not available. Like no one knows what the fuck is going on. And then on Sunday it releases exclusively for download for $20 from Tidal.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, what the fuck is going on? Like this is a big deal. This is a new Kanye album. Anyway, so I finally got it. I think that a lot of the tracks are incredible and like up to Kanye's standards. I think a lot of the tracks are worse than he's ever made before, particularly like Freestyle 4 and Father Stretch My Hands.
Yeah. But I Love Kanye was I don't know. I actually did enjoy that song.
I love that track. I love that track. I love
because
Kanye.
it's essentially like everything we've been talking about that Kanye is his ego. It's
Yeah.
all like there.
It shows some like self-awareness too, though. Like
Yeah,
I think
it's meta. It's meta.
Yeah, I think
It's a
he
good
did
song.
that. Yeah, intentionally. And then Wolves, Real Friends, Ultralight Beam are all
I didn't
fantastic.
really like I didn't like the beat in Ultralight, but that's
yeah. I think Chance killed it, but yeah, I mean the beat can be. I can see that. So listen to this lyric, Patrick. So this is in Father Stretch My Hands. He says, "If I have sex with a model who just bleached her asshole, and I get bleach on my T-shirt, does that make me an asshole?" And it's just like, this is supposed to be from like the biggest like rap star of the last 10 years.
Yeah,
like, the guy who's-
lyrical genius.
well, yeah, I don't think anyone's ever called him a lyrical genius, but he definitely has like pushed the limits.
Yeah.
he's
of the
gone deep
genre.
though, and that's just not.
Right. I think the times that he got deep, people are starting to think that maybe he had more help writing those times than
Like a ghostwriter, like
Right.
what Drake was accused of a couple of months ago.
yeah. I mean, Drake used the ghostwriter.
Someone it was on the top of Reddit lately. They said try to not read this in if you're a 30 Rock fan, he put Liz Lemon like comma in front of Kanye quotes. He's like, try not to read this in Tracy Morgan's voice as Tracy Jordan. And I just tried to do that with that lyric, and it's pretty good.
I could see that. That's pretty good.
I do have a funny side story about that album. My cousin actually went to that Madison Square Garden event
Oh,
up
really?
in New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually correctly guessed the name of the album because there was a running thing going on. I guess Kanye tweeted out that whoever can correctly guess it wins a pair of Yeezys, the sneakers.
Right.
So he actually correctly guessed that. He got a pair of Yeezys. It's his like third pair, but he's a huge Kanye fan. And he said, I never understood how he could guess it, but he said you really have to know Kanye's lyrics to really
That's pretty cool.
be able to guess
Neat.
that.
That's
Yeah.
really neat. I think there were there was a good amount of people that guessed it. So he just said TLOP, TLOP, and you had to guess the Life of Pablo out of that.
What kills me is the amount of money people are paying for those sneakers because he just sold a pair of those for $2,000.
Dude, yeah, but we're not like fashion is like
But Kanye's stuff looks like it just came out of a garbage can.
dude, that's fashion, man.
That is
That's
fashion.
fashion. I don't even
That's like Zoolander.
I don't
right
even
there.
begin to try to understand cuz I don't I'm ignorant.
He took a key out of Zoolander, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was pretty disappointed, but I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it wasn't stellar, but it wasn't terrible by any means.
Yeah, he still does like the craziest beats. But just the lyrics are just like bad even for
It fell flat for sure.
even for Kanye standards.
for such a hyped release, anyway.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just because there was so much controversy behind the release.
No, I mean like of his 6 albums, like they're all like huge. Like I think the hype is not just from the controversy. Like it's definitely from his clout. I mean, for sure. Yeah. What would you give it out of 10 though if I were to put you on the spot?
I would probably
3.
give it. I give it a 5.
5.
I give it halfway there
I gotcha.
because half the songs are good and half the songs weren't.
Yeah, no, that's all you need to know. That's a good review right there. All right, Christian, what were you up to last week?
I was on a super super awesome like international martial arts movie kick this week. So Ip Man 2, and then Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the sequel that they put out on Netflix. Ip Man was probably regarded as one of the best martial arts movies in recent years. So I decided to check that out. It's actually about the guy who taught Bruce Lee originally martial arts.
Oh wow.
Yeah, his name is actually Ip, and it's obviously with all these martial arts movies, it's based on a real story with some embellishments. So
Sure.
it's about his life way back when he lived in, I guess, the Foshan province of China, and there were all these martial arts schools, and Japan in the beginning of World War II or One when they took over China, and how he suffered through that and eventually found his way back through martial arts. And it's just a really, really empowering story, really cool pick me up to I don't know. It just left me with a really, really good feeling inside at the end of the movie. I guess it's because of the acting was super, super on par for something where you have to read the subtitles, which was interesting to me because it's not often that I watch an international movie and am really struck by what's going on between the actors because I have to read the subtitles.
Right.
So the
I
fact that they
love
could convey
subtitles
that.
though.
Yeah,
Like, it definitely brings you into the
Yeah.
like culture more than
yeah, for sure. Than having
Um,
those weird, like, crappy
is-
English ones that were like delayed.
So is martial arts like wrestling? Like how we know martial arts? Cuz like
not at all, I don't think.
is like no, cuz like tournaments is like is martial arts more like the tournaments in Karate Kid or like the movies and movies we see? Like
It's full contact martial arts. So they
Wait,
do-
what's the difference?
but it's not like Jackie Chan in Rush Hour. That's not like real martial arts.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
like
no.
choreographed
Yeah, those are
choreographed for
choreographed.
Hollywood versus
yeah.
like the Karate Kid movies, like where it's a hit and everyone stops.
Like,
So like, is this guy famous for the choreography of teaching Bruce Lee like what he could do on camera, or is he
the
like
actual
in martial arts?
Yeah, he is a
for
martial arts master.
competitive. I don't know shit about martial arts.
no, I think I see what you're going at now cuz yeah, like when I think of like Olympic judo or even UFC, that is definitely a different like skill set than choreographed like like
Yeah, Jackie Chan like flipping a chair into someone's face.
yeah, or like
Yeah,
quick like succession of blocks and jabs that really couldn't happen in real time.
in like fencing. Fencing lasts like 3 seconds if you actually watch competitive fencing.
Right.
I think the thing about it back then is martial arts wasn't necessarily like used as a form of combat. It was mostly competition, like you'd
Right.
see. And a lot of the forms and things you'll see with like Tai Chi and Wushu, it's all about exercise and balance, and it's more incorporating Chinese values into the way you move versus, using it as a means to an end like they do for I don't know, cinematography purposes. So I guess it was more of a form of like what we would do nowadays as yoga to them.
Yeah, I could see that.
And is
So
that what the
he
movie tries to convey, or is it about? Because
Killing.
yeah,
like,
it was
This is
it
about
like
beating up baddies.
all of not all of, but there's a lot of like kung fu movies out there. I'm thinking of like Fearless, for example, with Jet Li. Like that was the point of his thing. Like kung fu is not, or not kung fu, martial arts. Kung fu is Japanese, I think.
I don't think so.
Am I wrong
Kung
or?
Fu is Chinese.
Kung Fu Panda, man.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay. Anyways, but like that was his whole thing. Like, you shouldn't be using martial arts for that. But it still had Hollywood choreographed martial arts.
Right.
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
think
exact. I just don't know what this movie is. If it's supposed to be a documentary, or is it supposed to be like a martial arts movie, or is it supposed to be?
it's a little of both. I mean, it's about his life, but there are going to be, I mean,
Chor-
to portray it
choreograph.
as the martial arts movie, it's got to be the choreographed scenes where, you show just how strong, I guess, an individual is in comparison to the rest of his peers.
I'm sure it's not as like absurd as Crouching Tiger though.
No, where you have people flying
Just like kicking and
Kicking and, like, flying.
yeah. Oh
and
my
then bouncing off
god,
the water.
I
Yeah,
love Crouching Tiger so much.
yeah. I mean, I guess leading into that, it. I wish they wouldn't have called it another Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon because it would have stood so well on its own. But because of the fact that it's coming up as a sequel to this movie, it's kind of living in the shadow of the original
Hmm.
Mhm.
because I mean, it was a great movie and it wasn't terrible by any means, but just the fact that I can look at this movie and then immediately recall scenes from the previous one that I think were done more stylistically, more creatively, it kind of falls flat in that regard.
Is
That's disappointing.
is it the same
Yeah.
aesthetic, like the same like
Yeah, same style.
flying?
Yeah.
So, and then does it have any callbacks, or is it like a standalone
It
story?
reuses a couple of characters for sure.
Okay,
But
well then
I
I mean
just
I feel like you have to call it a sequel then.
I feel like if they hadn't branded it as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2 though, it would have been better. Like I mean, you could have sequels that it's just the connotation to me
Right.
when you look at this and you're like, "Oh, it's supposed to be just like this one."
So you're saying Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 6 would have been a good skateboarding game if it wasn't the
Yeah,
sixth Tony Hawk?
pretty much.
Or
Actually,
you're
no, that
talking
was a great
about
game.
like
What are you talking about?
you're talking about like Jurassic Park to Jurassic World.
Yeah. Instead of calling it Jurassic Park 4, we went to Jurassic World, which I feel is a better, I don't
So
know.
maybe like Standing Tiger,
I think
Obvious Dragon.
I think that maybe the movie should have just been better. I don't know.
I mean, it could have been in some aspects. It's just I feel like it was a
Like,
waste to make it a sequel.
but so I think there's two arguments for not calling it what they did. One would be it doesn't build on the same type of story or relate, and another is it wasn't good, I guess. Like
And
it either sullies the name because it's a different spirit, or it sullies the name because it's not at the same level of quality.
and
I feel like the
less people
first
would
one-
watch it if
Yeah.
it wasn't called Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
This
That's
is
true.
true. This is true.
It's just
I
a
just
branding name recognition type of deal.
Yeah. It feels like the characters that they reused for it weren't necessary in regards to them in the previous movie. Like you could have had completely different characters this
Yeah.
entire go around, and it would have been it would have been better actually, I think, because you don't have the backstory of the other characters tying them down.
Hmm.
Right.
And it like their backstories did absolutely nothing to progress the plot.
Does Crouching Tiger? Yeah, Crouching Tiger has a plot. Never mind. How dare I question the greatness that is Crouching Tiger and Dragon? I love those movies.
They're great.
Okay, let's jump to current events. Christian, you alerted us to this. Pokemon Sun and Moon officially announced out later this year.
Yeah, that's a surprise actually, considering the way that Pokemon has done things recently in the past like decade or so, is they release two games, and then they release like some kind of third game in the series for that uh generation, I guess.
Mm.
So like you had Red Yellow was accompanied by Silver, or Red Blue was accompanied by Yellow. I guess
Sapphire for
yeah,
gold and
Sapphire
silver.
was Gold and Silver. And it just, you know, there was always that third game in the series where they made, you know, minor changes, allowed you to catch a variety of different things or do
Hashtag the
different.
cash in. The
Yeah,
cash in
pretty
year.
much.
Okay.
So it's different because we just got X and Y, and what people were expecting was for us to get a Z, and instead they released Sun and Moon.
Do you
So
think a Z is out of? Well, no, it's supposed to be for 2016, right?
yeah, this is
Okay. Well,
Sun
then
and Moon
yeah,
is supposed to release this year.
that's kind of cool. That
When did X and Y come out?
Uh,
2013?
2 years ago,
13.
maybe
13.
2, 3 years
I
ago.
think 13. Did you play those games, Christian?
Yeah, I actually have X in my 3DS right now.
Are they... So I haven't played a Pokemon since... So I played... Probably Sapphire was the last one I played.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm a gold and silver age baby.
was,
well.
was Crystal the third after Gold and Silver? I've played Pokemon Red, Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Crystal,
Crystal is the
Pokemon...
one that had the Suicune on the cover, right? Yeah, that one
I
came
thought
after
that
Gold
one
and
was
Silver.
Sapphire.
No,
Oh,
Sapphire
fuck, I'm
came
wrong.
after Ruby and
Okay. Right. Sorry, I meant to say whatever.
no,
Ben
it
was-
was Sapphire, Ruby, and then Emerald. Right. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
What I said earlier was supposed to be what Ben said. The Suicune on the top.
The Gold and Silver Crystal one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I played one generation after that.
which
And
was
I
Ruby and Sapphire, I think.
Right, and I loved those. I loved all the Pokemon games. But to me, the Pokemon games are like better if you have like free time because you gotta like grind and stuff.
Yeah, they've definitely made it a whole lot more strategic in terms of item choices and
It's like
the way
passives
you.
and shit now.
Yeah,
That
each
piques
Pokemon
my
has an
interest.
ability.
Berries the game
Yeah.
is a lot more like for me when I played as a kid, gold and silver. I was upset if fucking items were used, But like
Yeah,
now, I think it's like you need that shit or like it's a
Yeah,
important part
like
of the
the
game.
hold items for Pokemon definitely change the way your team composition works. The way that your Pokemon is built in terms of the stats, because you can change how they grow depending on what you're fighting to get experience. There's an entire mathematical equation
I think this is
system.
cool for kids because in the similar way Minecraft, I imagine kids are researching and like learning how to get the best kind of stuff. I just think it's neat that like this is so well beloved and there's enough depth to inspire kids to like dig basically.
Yeah,
I
mean,
always
it's
played.
complex as hell.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever played a Pokemon without a guidebook.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
actually, what they did recently is your first form of, I guess, what they would call balance patching, because in the next generation, they changed some of the type matchups. So some types that were super effective against other types prior to this won't be as effective anymore,
nice.
which is super interesting.
It's like meta
I'm
shifts.
I'm getting pumped now. I'm ready for another Pokemon.
I think
Yeah, they're
you've
supposed
had
to be
enough
changing a
distance.
lot this generation too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I like it every time because I like seeing how the Pokemon change aesthetically, because it's so awesome to think about what we got back in the original Game Boy days with Red and Blue
Yeah.
and how crappy the sprites looked,
Hey.
to now we have these 3D models of the
Yeah.
Pokemon that are moving on screen and actually performing these attacks, and it's super cool.
Come
All
to
right, so I have a question, guys. Who was your starter in red and blue?
I was a punk, dude. I did Charmander.
I did all of them. Like I played so much Pokemon.
Yeah, but what is like
My favorite?
yeah, like then who is your
Squirtle.
Fuck, dude, I'm goddamn Bulbasaur.
Oh, what?
I'm the green.
No
I'm
one-
the green.
I
I'm
played
the worst.
Bulbasaur
But
as a
you know what? If
joke.
anything, that was the most strategic choice he could have ever made.
For the
Because
early
the first
parts of the
gym was
game.
fucking rock or
The
ground.
the
Yeah.
first two gyms are great.
Yeah,
for-
exactly.
for
And
Bulbasaur.
then
Yeah, but who plays Bulbasaur?
I know. Dude, so when
So
you guys get your
forgetful.
game and you guys get the red, from what I understand, there's 3 rivals, or you have 2 rivals, right? And
Mm.
they all get the starter. Like all 3 starters get
Oh,
chosen
in the last one for X and Y,
in
yeah,
the
that
in
was
the
yep.
recent ones.
Mhm.
So when you guys play, the 3 of us, like you name my rival me for the who picks the
Oh, that's
line. You
good. That's
pick.
Oh, we
good.
can do that. Yeah,
We'll be able
that
to
sounds
play online too, right,
yeah.
Christian? Oh,
hmm
hell yes.
Oh
And
my
the cool
god.
thing is like the battle system has changed because they've got like tag matchups and 2v2s and things like that. So it's really
Guys,
cool.
I might have to buy a fucking 3DS when this
Dude,
summer
you can
comes
get a
out.
2DS for like $60 and
I
play with
might.
us.
I might.
That's like
My tax season just came through. I was very fortunate. I'm
I'm
very
still waiting on
fortunate
my
this
state
year.
return.
guys, I owed $12 after I finished my tax return.
Damn.
That's how like
Yikes.
little deductibles I had this year.
I guess it's because I paid so much in interest.
I paid a lot of student loans.
Yeah, same
So.
here.
All right, so excited for a new Pokemon. 6.4 million people played the Division beta.
I did
That's a
not
lot
jump
of
back into
people.
it
I think they probably counted you, Christian, though. Like I bet.
because I had an account. Yeah.
Because you got it.
Yeah, yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. That's a lot of people. Like
Do you remember what the numbers were for Battlefront?
I don't, but
It was probably around the same.
I bet you it's similar, maybe more, because a lot of
Probably
people
around the
play
same.
that fucking game.
I just remember the conversation we had last week, Patrick. Like we talked a lot about like how this was affecting so many people's impressions of like the this game, like that this was a really big deal and they could have put their best foot forward in a couple different ways. And for
Mhm.
that first story mission to be so dull,
Yeah,
and it was just I just thought that was interesting to come back and hear that
it killed.
64 million people played that.
6.4.
6.4, same thing,
Holy
right?
shit.
6.4 million people played that first level. I don't know. I don't think that's. I mean, it is what it is. It's just a lot of people, so it's interesting.
I think it's gonna sell very well.
Yeah, I mean, I
I think
have
it's
no
going
doubt that it will
to.
because I mean, first and foremost, it's a Tom Clancy game, and those are always good with the hardcore fans.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it there's not really a lot of competition right now.
It's very
Right.
dry right
It's
now.
it's a very open season.
And then I quickly added here that they will claim no microtransactions at launch. Um,
At launch doesn't
all
mean
the
it's. I mean,
right.
that's subject to change, right?
And
Obviously.
then they said like instead we'll be doing our cosmetics through the DLC in the first party store. So
I don't know how I feel about that.
it's
I hate the word DLC.
yeah, it's a it's not controversial by any means, but it's just like people are
It's
might
a
be a little
blemish.
confused,
It's
yeah.
a blemish on the record.
Because like saying it's weird because like now you're saying like oh no microtransactions at launch
But you're
as
still
a
gonna have to pay
positive
for something.
spin. But no, like that's what I'm saying. They're using it as like a positive spin,
Yeah.
but like we're doing it this way instead.
Yeah. Really, at the
Well,
end of the day, you're still gonna pay us more money.
I also think they're just late to the game. Like what? Like it was really hip and cool like 2 years ago or 1 year ago to claim no microtransactions. Now, like I don't think people get as upset now. Like I think it's almost like assumed. I don't think it holds the same weight to make such a claim either. Like I just think it's a little bit reactive instead of proactive. Because
Yeah.
honestly, that game seems like a game that would have microtransactions. Like I don't know. Like I wouldn't be shocked if it did, and it wouldn't anger me if it did. So
I think
Yeah.
most online games meant to be played in a similar style
yeah,
will always have microtransactions because it's going to be a pay to win or it's going to be a pay for cosmetic either
yeah,
way.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it just adds longevity, which is what you want in an online
hmm
game.
And
hmm
money streams.
Yep.
Battlefield 5 rumored to be set in World War One.
Here we go again.
We haven't had have we had what was the last one that was like a dated Call
World at
of
War.
Duty World at War?
hmm
Was World at War World War One or two?
One of those two.
I
I just
feel
know
like
that.
there's never
Wasn't the first
been.
Black Ops Vietnam?
I feel like there's. I could have been. I feel like there's never been a World War One
Yes,
shooter.
you're right.
Medal of
There
Honor.
have been.
There's
There have
probably
to
a
be.
Medal of Honor one out there.
Um, Valiant Hearts, The Great War. No, there's no Medal of Honors.
Really?
Because like World War One doesn't lend itself to, like they don't have the technology. Like it's like that's why World War Two every game was
Because it was the
based on
introduction of
that.
like the machine gun and tanks and
Yeah, and sniper
Everything was like carbine rifles and
yeah, Like, I'm looking through a Wikipedia page of list of World War One video games. I don't recognize a single game except for the one that I just said. So I'm pumped. Like,
It could be cool.
I don't know how I feel about it.
It's going to be cool.
You can't have the fast-paced gameplay that people have been accustomed to since Black Ops 3. Like, Black Ops 3 is a huge hit, no denying that. And because it revolutionized the way you played Call of Duty, right? So
this is Battlefield, though, right? Like,
right, but it's interesting to me in that Battlefield is known for those
massive multiplayer,
vehicle and not just
combat.
that, but the jet play and the vehicle play, it's all going to be negated to a degree because you can't have, fast moving vehicles and things like that.
The top of our gaming had like that. Did you guys see he parachuted and he did the
out of the jet plane.
And he just that's how I know Battlefield.
Right, and that's why I'm like a little hesitant about this because World War One, like you were saying, Ben, it doesn't really lend itself to these kinds of games because if you look at all the games now, we're moving towards a more fast-paced Twitch-style shooting experience.
Right.
Well, maybe they're rolling the dice here.
That's why I think it's amazing. So I think it's gonna bring people back that like never played so I used to be a huge console shooter. Like, I loved online games. I played Battlefield 2 Modern Combat and Battlefield Bad Company. I have like hundreds of hours in those two games, and I just got burnt out. Like, I felt like the military shooter has been done to death. Like, honestly, like, it is a risk, and it doesn't lend itself to the gameplay, but to set yourself to not have to compete with Titanfall, to not have to compete with Call of Duty, to not have to compete with The Division, like, to do something that drastically different, I think is going to be interesting, and it's going to bring back people that haven't played Battlefield in a long time.
And if you don't like it, you can just play Call of Duty.
Right.
Or Battlefield 4. Like, Battlefield 4 still is a huge online community.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's mostly people doing trick shit nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, you can do such cool stuff on PC in that game.
Yep.
Talk about this one, Patrick, because I don't know.
Sure. Finn Jones, he's cast as Iron Fist. So Netflix has like that. They have their Marvel universe, right? They have Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and
speaking of martial arts, my God,
this guy is the last guy from Netflix's proposed Marvel TV universe, right? Mm-hmm. And Finn Jones is Loras Tyrell from Game of Thrones. I don't know much of anything about Iron Fist.
Loras Tyrell, the Knight of Flowers.
Knight of Flowers, yes.
Why? I didn't even like him in that role. He was such a pipsqueak.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it's completely different now. I don't know because the Netflix series are super gritty. So
I hope he started to work out a little bit more to be like an action hero.
To be the Iron Fist, you have to be pretty pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was my rage against the
Knight of Flowers. Cool. I mean, I don't know shit about it. I just thought it was neat because
the Iron Fist is just Marvel's take on martial artists. That's really it. He's like a master of all martial arts and just superpowers with his fists.
This is the start of that huge budget that we reported on.
90 million or some shit like that.
Yeah, whatever that.
Yeah, because you've got the second seasons of both Daredevil and Jessica Jones somewhere in the works.
Daredevil season 2 has already been reviewed.
Yeah, it's being released.
First episode
this month. It's being released this month.
I
thought of Batman v Superman.
I think I read a review of the whole season.
The IGN review was just the first episode.
All right, I was mistaken.
And I did read like through some. It was like a subreddit. It said like the first half has been given to reviewers.
Right.
So I think they can. Anyways, what you got here? Facebook reactions.
Yeah, I thought
this is
a thing. This is something that impacts everyone's lives. Facebook redesigned the like button to let you do silly emojis,
like wow or haha
or angry or sad. I, being the ancient man that I might be becoming, took a lot of time for me to figure out how to use it on mobile.
Same here.
I couldn't.
I will not be ashamed of that.
I haven't tried.
Okay, we won't even tell you then because it's like a little puzzle game. I think this is probably long overdue. I think it's fun.
It is. It adds a little bit of variety, I guess.
It adds
when you actually want to post something on Facebook.
Right. It makes Facebook more cluttered, but like I think people always wanted like a dislike button
From the
or
amount of friend posts that I have on here that's just random crap, my Facebook's already cluttered.
yeah,
I have to like unfollow 3 or 4 people a day. It's ridiculous.
yeah. I
Yeah.
purged my friends list a while back. Might be time for another purge.
I
Um,
haven't seen those movies. I did see a trailer for like the third one. I was like, holy shit, they're on the third.
it's a good concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like what was I gonna say? It's just like the first big change Facebook has made in a while. Remember when they moved from the wall to the timeline and how everyone flipped their shit?
Yeah.
Nobody likes change.
People were so mad. Facebook's done so many things. Like in the early days, they would just revamp it like once every 6 months or a year.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
beautiful.
Now it's not as quick. And then Netflix is not releasing something.
So,
viewing
it's a pretty
numbers.
big deal.
Viewing
They don't.
numbers.
Yeah, they're not reviewing. They're not revealing their viewing viewership numbers. I'm quickly trying to take a look through the article here, but I think the
It's pissing
gist
off a lot of
is
people.
well, it's pissing off TV execs.
Mhm.
They said they don't want to release it to the public because they don't like to vet their
Shows by
television
ratings,
shows
yeah.
like by ratings, because it's not the way they're doing it is not the same as obviously television cable. Like shit gets renewed if they feel the
If they
public
want
likes
to.
this
I mean,
numbers,
if they want to, they
right?
do it.
It's a very Silicon Valley approach to be like you can't measure the success of a show just in sheer like statistics. Like that doesn't measure engagement, that doesn't measure social media chatter, that doesn't measure
Yeah.
like political like statements. Like that's pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, it's no,
Suck
it
it,
isn't.
cable.
It's a big deal. I don't know. It's
But yeah.
cool. There's no pressure, not as much pressure, and with as much money Netflix is pouring into their original programming.
I'm wholly willing to give Netflix more money because if they keep going the way they're going, I appreciate it.
It's pretty solid.
Like everything Netflix investing too is like it's like different than cable, just because cable's been so long catching up. Like a run of a season on a Netflix show is going to be watched by people for the first time in like 5 to 10 years from now. Like they're just building up this huge bank of on-demand like high quality television, whereas there's so many TV shows where the only place to watch it is on Netflix. Like
Yeah.
in terms of archives, like they're just TV hasn't been available from such a like time
Agnostic standpoint.
yeah. Exactly.
Actually, in relation to that, Netflix is going to release its first anime with the same studio who did Ghost in the Shell.
I don't think it's
So
their
I'm-
first. They've done it before. I saw it. I saw it on.
Really? Yeah. Well, as
I
far
don't
as
think
I
it's
know,
their
that's the
first,
first
but
one
I
I've
think
seen.
they are producing another one, but I don't think it's their first.
Okay. They're releasing another one then with the same studio that did Ghost in the Shell. So I'm super excited because that art style is super, super good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then I'm looking through the thread here, and it talks about how ratings were originally done to set advertising prices, and that's not obviously Netflix doesn't need that shit, so they're not trying to cater to the ads. They're not trying to cater to, in addition to like whether a show gets renewed or not, which is like we forget that's not the reason they do or ratings to
Sell to advertisers.
to get a second. Yeah, you don't release ratings to get a second season. You release your ratings to, I don't know. It's neat.
Yeah.
And real quick, Christian, I think it's the Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh, was that Netflix original?
I think
I wasn't
it's
aware that was a
got
Netflix
Netflix
original.
original, but
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but
It does have the Netflix picture when you try to search for that, so I'm assuming that means it's a Netflix original.
yeah. I mean, but so does like Trailer Park Boys and what's it called?
Have you
Because
been-
Netflix picked up, or Arrested Development, because they picked up the latest season. So I don't
And
know nothing.
Fuller House.
Oh
I didn't
gosh.
watch it. I
Don't
didn't
say
watch
that on this show. It's by.
I watched Full House when I was
I hate Full House.
It's great.
Cue the topic. I love saying that.
Christian, we came up with that last week, and it's pretty fucking.
It's gonna stick. It's gonna be here for a
It's
while.
better than Top of the Queue, whoever's stupid idea that was.
Shouldn't it be like CUE though? Well, right.
Oh,
That's
not
the-
again.
God,
Oh.
man,
Mm.
that's the point.
Our topic this week is the Nintendo NX, which I don't think we've talked about as much, and just some talk around what are perfect in a perfect world, what is the Nintendo NX?
I want Nintendo to be a heavy hitter in games again. I want them to release that as an actual like balls to the wall next gen console with graphics and processor and the games to go with it, the whole nine yards.
Here's the problem. Okay, if and this is a I guess a good problem to have. If the Nintendo NX, and let's ignore the handheld rumors for now, becomes like a bona fide juggernaut home console, that means that I have to split like my like life between PlayStation and Nintendo.
Yeah.
And like it's hard enough being all digital on Steam, PlayStation, and some on Xbox even. I still own like 7 Xbox games even though I don't have an Xbox. If the Nintendo NX is like best part of the system is console, I'm going to be scared.
Can I add to that and say, even though like it's bona fide and great and everything, with their first party studio, they can only make like 2 or 3 great games a year,
Yeah.
and without the third party support, whether or not they'll have it's tough because like I mean we PlayStation fans we have to wait for Ratchet and Clank and Uncharted and Bloodborne and stuff. But hey, we've got
All
Witcher,
these AAA
we've
third
got
party titles.
Witcher, yeah, we got Witcher, Dragon Age, all this other stuff to hold it in between. I don't know what's gonna hold me in between Legend of Zelda and Smash Bros. When their 2-3 year cycle.
Yeah, like I can't see a world where, well, maybe I could, but Nintendo would have to be so not short-sighted, just it would be a huge blunder for this console not to be easy to develop by third-party developers because the Wii and the Wii U were so hamstrung by the lack of third-party support. Like the attachment rate for both those consoles is abysmal compared to the rest of the modern groups. But even if they have like third-party support, I care more about playing Nintendo's first-party games. So like I've
Right.
heard rumors about like them also offer like if they got real like for me the best case scenario would be a subscription service like for PC and PlayStation where you can play Nintendo games on other consoles
So
and
they can
then
devote their time solely to making the games
Shit.
and
yeah, and there's rumors of that probably unfounded, but if the Nintendo NX really the rumor that everyone thinks is probably true is that they're going to combine their handheld and their console business. Whereas what that means could be a bunch of things. It could mean a handheld that docks on a TV and you can play on your couch, but then you can also undock it and take it on the go.
And I
But
mean that would be playing to strengths, right? Because Nintendo, I feel like at this point Nintendo undoubtedly dominates the handheld market.
right, they do. They do.
Yep.
They're the only handheld, really. I know that's pretty mean to say, but in terms of sales,
Other than that, and other than mobile games,
right,
But-
right,
Right,
which
right.
dominate the handheld. But so my thinking is, if it's a hybrid console and they focus like much harder on the handheld aspect, it would make business sense to try and release your like thicker AAA games around the like other not just on Nintendo platforms, but because that way you're not like the only way to play your handheld games is still with your hardware, but I don't know. Like there's a difference between trying to talk about what rumors are true and what would be our best case scenario. But for me, it would be like a killer handheld because I'd way rather play handheld games than mobile. Because I have a 3DS now, but I'm not going to buy a Wii U even though I want to play a lot of Wii U games. So the best case scenario for me for the NX would be like a great handheld, and then I get to play their first party games on Steam or on PlayStation.
yeah.
Like imagine Patrick, if you could play Mario Kart on your PlayStation in your living room,
Cool.
how awesome would that be?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's just this company's never like fucked around with any of that. They don't even They barely fuck around with mobile, and
They
you
just
know,
started doing
they
that,
just started fucking around with
which
mobile.
is pretty cool. They finally did that.
Yeah, but that's like not tied to Sony or not tied to Microsoft. How does this company that has stood on its legs since the NES, and I know it's not a argument of them like not bowing, but like going to Sony's door and knocking. It's all business deals. I understand that, but like,
I mean, they have a huge rivalry with Sony. Like, I
yeah,
mean, they don't really like each other. It would be definitely a diversion from their typical corporate philosophy. So if it's a current gen home console, how powerful do you guys think it needs to be?
It has to match a 980. I mean,
What?
you can't go into next gen and not match what we have currently on PCs this year.
That escalated. I don't think I can guarantee you it's not going to be a 980
Oh, I have no
powerful.
doubt that it won't. But with Nvidia releasing the Pascal and the 980 Ti being released, I just feel like it's becoming more and more of a non-brainer for people to at least have a PC or a Mac to play on
I
because of the amount of power that you can get out of a machine like that.
I think it's extremely apparent that the current consoles fucked up and are way farther behind PCs than consoles have ever been. But for Nintendo to like, but what that means is that Nintendo doesn't necessarily have to push the limit if they want to compete with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Like, I don't
Right,
think
but
this is going to mark the start of a new generation. I don't
but
think
it has but the Wii U was released. Was it released before or after those consoles?
like 2 years
2 years
before.
before.
So they've had more of a cycle for them to go ahead and do a lot of retrofitting and, upgrades to
Do you
whatever
think it's
they're
smart to make
doing.
that heavy of machine in a market that is already like pretty comfortable with what is out there?
Yeah, because so you're taking a big risk by doing that because by not placing your new launch at the same time as like the industry standard generation turnover, you're asking PlayStation 4 and Xbox One hardcore gamers to get multiple consoles instead of like at the start of a new generation being able to make
Choose.
a clean slate choice.
Hmm.
I think it's probably going to be like this on like have parity with Xbox One and PS4,
I think so too.
which is crazy for Nintendo because that would be a really powerful Nintendo console because right now the Wii U is like not even close to that.
Yeah, that's been an issue.
But it needs to be at least on par because they're not going to get. It's going to be hard to port third-party games if it's not. I would love to see it be crazy powerful, but like all signs would point to that being a risk, especially considering the handheld and home console like combination rumors
I
as
would
well.
appreciate a subscription service. I really would. I don't think they're going to go that route unless they make it strictly for like PC because I don't think they're going to put anything else on console.
I think I could see them partnering with Xbox.
What?
Yeah, because I mean, Xbox is like way more desperate than Sony. They have no baggage like Nintendo has with Sony.
But they are an American company.
Yeah, but
Don't fuck with American companies. That's the
I
Japanese slogan. You ask anyone. I'm
I
kidding.
do
Don't do that.
I could definitely see like Xbox. That would be a huge win for them. If they made a really lucrative deal with Nintendo, like
I mean, they kind of have been falling off the radar the past couple of months, years, maybe. Because I feel like the PS4 just has so much more of a presence.
it
Yeah, I mean,
does.
and in Japan, like, I just there's every once in a while you see like Microsoft's numbers in Japan and it's like less than a
They're
hundred.
abysmal. Yeah.
Well, they pulled out. I think they
Yeah,
stopped selling the Xbox One in Japan,
yeah.
but the PS4 is not selling good in Japan either.
That's mostly because of the economy, though.
And they just they
Well,
don't.
everyone there is a PC gamer.
No,
Is the
Japan
is it
has like no PC gaming. That's the thing. They're like
because they've got the PC
they're a very
cafes, though.
no, that's not in Japan. That's South
Yeah, I
Korean.
always imagined Japan was not the. Well,
That
actually,
I
never mind.
no, I was just listening to this writer who lived in Japan for 2 years, and she was like, they do not play PC games. It's something about like their culture of like the way they
Work.
consume. They like brands and like ecosystem. I don't. They've just been Nintendo, PlayStation, handheld gamers for like a really long time. I don't really know why nothing is selling there because I think it's like mobile crazy.
I'm kind of curious as to what the 3DS numbers are in Japan.
I've seen them. They're good, but they're not DS numbers. And the PS4 numbers are really bad compared to like PS3 and PS2. Like
It's interesting.
Persona 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Persona 5 is being released on PS3 in Japan because that that
Yeah.
population is still really strong and really still like vibrant. Maybe they're just more frugal, like you're saying, Christian. I don't
We'll
know.
see.
Shoot, dude. I
E3,
don't know.
E3 though, it's gonna be fun.
Or well,
Or it'll be a shit show.
they're not at E3 though.
They're gonna be at E3 this year.
Is this the new thing? Like,
Ooh, I just thought it was like I thought it was announced, but maybe everyone just assumed it.
wait, have they always been at E3?
They haven't been there for like 4 years.
Okay, gotcha.
But they are gonna be at E3 this year. They've been
Like
doing.
they have their own like keynote and everything, or is it just like a presence?
They will have the NX will likely be the focus of Nintendo's E3 presentation. So they've been doing Nintendo Directs the last few years.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
they
they're
didn't strictly do the Nintendo Directs though, because they did have a presentation during the last E3, didn't
they're not from E3 though. They've been doing Nintendo Directs to coincide with E3, but they haven't.
Oh.
They have not done a press conference or had a presence at E3.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Dude,
I am predicting another Monster Hunter game and maybe another Mario game.
And Zelda release.
release window.
That people want to know if it's going to be on both NX and
Wii U?
Wii U, because
It has to be.
it has to be. The rumor is
has
that the
to be.
NX is coming October or November, or if not, it'll be spring 2017. Like
What? Like, do you guys see it succeeding? Like, do you at all by any means? Do you guys see it succeeding? If it's, I don't know.
Hard to say.
Succeeding.
It's really hard to
Succeeding
say.
is like, a relative, right? Because
Right.
I don't
And-
see it being near as successful as the PS4.
Right, and I've heard like Colin and Greg, they say like they always bring up PlayStation 4 and Xbox numbers, and even though there's a big disparity, like that's still more Xbox units that are being sold than like they've had in the past. Like it's still a good thing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like they're still selling, and I understand like obviously Nintendo would adjust in a similar way, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, if
Yeah.
not October.
Yeah, I mean the Xbox One is outselling the 360, even though it's losing to the PS4 so badly. The I really think that there's like a huge thirst and hunger for Nintendo software. I think,
And it's going to be an uncompetitive holiday season.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. I think it could do well. Like, I think that people want Nintendo to come back. Like it's been since like the GameCube that they released a console that appeals to hardcore gamers, and people maybe either they've forgotten about Mario or they don't care anymore, or they miss him. I just think
I think they miss him, but they don't miss him in terms of motion tracking controllers.
I think if it's $300 or less, has a handheld and widescreen component, and has exclusives like Zelda at launch, I think it will be a success.
Do you think they'll
It needs games at launch.
Yeah.
It does more than anything because
Do you think they'll do what they did with the previous two generations and continue on that weird, wacky controller setup, or will they revert back to an original controller?
I think the controller is going to be the handheld. Like, it won't be like as bulky and stupid as the Wii U controller, but I think it'd be like playing, like your DS would be what you play on your TV with.
remember we used to do that, Christian? The
Yeah.
DS connector?
Yep,
Or no, not the SP connector.
the SP connector.
SP connector.
And
We
hopefully
did
it's,
it with what is it? Four Swords?
Four Swords. You hooked up your Game Boy Advance SP to the GameCube that had like a little connector. It was pretty neat.
yeah.
And we played the Four Swords. That was really cool. I wish we had two more friends to play with. That would have been more.
I know.
I'm super excited. I just think Nintendo, like, they're so valuable. They're never going to go anywhere, and they're going to find success eventually. It might just take the NX to crush them, though. Like, this could be their last console before they just become a third-party developer, because their IP is worth billions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll find success. It's just a question of when.
In what form?
Right,
too.
right.
It's I don't know, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is good shit.
It's fun.
What has Sega released recently? Sega has pretty much been releasing on the Nintendo consoles, right?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, they have.
So we could also see the resurgence of another Phantasy Star game, or we could see a console port of Phantasy Star Online 2.
I know nothing about Phantasy Star. I'm
Thought
almost
you were
done.
going up the Sonic route here, and I was like, well, that
I'm
doesn't really help.
I'm almost done with
I would actually be so freaking game for another Phantasy Star game.
I'm almost done with the console wars about Sega versus Nintendo, and it's super fascinating.
Well, now they're kind of one and the same.
No. Sega's just a third-party game developer.
But they mostly release their games on Nintendo, don't they?
I don't think so.
Because we don't see Sonic the Hedgehog on anything other. Well, maybe we do.
I don't know.
List of Sega games. They're making like mobile games and arcade games and pinball
Yeah.
machines. I think they are still. It is. I do know that they are making Nintendo games because people are like, oh, it's funny because they used to be Mortal Enemies and now they make the games for them. But I don't know. I think Sega's a struggling company.
Oh God, I just really want to play another Phantasy Star game. The amount of hours I sunk into the very first one almost rivals the amount of time I've spent in MMOs.
But isn't that would be a huge AAA undertaking, right?
It's not really. I mean, it's a Sega game.
That sounds like a risky game to develop because it doesn't seem like it has mainstream appeal and it sounds expensive. But they said the same thing about Shenmue 3.
And then, well, that was crowdsourced though.
Yeah,
Well,
it was.
crowdsourced for interest, not for production.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
quote unquote crowdsourced.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely going to cost more than the $4 million that they raised or whatever, or they targeted for.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for listening. You can check out the audio every Monday. Please leave us feedback on iTunes. It really helps us out. The archive is located on freebrunchgaming.com, at fig_TV, at cmonkey2eyes, and at freebrunch on Twitter. Farewell, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Peace.